heart of what truly matters, our families. Healthy families make healthy societies. I'm Randy.
And I'm Leslie. We're diving deep into the powerful insights of Dr. Randy's groundbreaking book, The Family Legacy: Shaping Culture from the Inside Out.
Hear inspiring stories and strategies to transform your family. We'll explore topics like communication, forgiveness, healing, parenting, marriage. We'll cover it all.
We'll have provoking conversations with experts, coaches, and real-life families who are benefiting from intentional family building.
This podcast isn't just about theories, it's about tools that you can implement today.
We all come from families, so this podcast is for you.
Join us on this incredible family journey. Subscribe now as we learn to do family as God designed.
Transforming families one episode at a time. Remember, whoever wins the family wins the culture in the end. Let's go.
Introducing the Family Digital Bundle, a powerful collection designed to transform your family's journey towards healing, growth, and thriving.
At the heart of this bundle is the best-selling book and workbook, The Family Legacy: Shaping Culture from the Inside Out, written by Dr. Randall Bixby.
With insightful wisdom and practical advice, these resources offer a roadmap for building a strong family legacy that shapes the culture of generations to come.
But that's not all. Our Family Digital Bundle includes an e-course, over 9 hours of how-to videos, equipping you with practical tools and expert guidance to help your family.
Imagine your family, a place where love, growth, and connection come together. Isn't it time to build a better family? If not now, when?
Invest in your family. Order the Family Digital Bundle today by clicking the link below or visit our website, thefamilyreformationproject.com. Hi there. Welcome to another episode of Transforming Families with Randy and Leslie. I'm Leslie.
I'm Randy.
And today we're going to talk about how to create a healthy family culture.
Yeah, and one of the things that our EQ protocol in the work does is it really explains what is a healthy culture. We talked about that on the last episode, but this place where it's trusting and safe and supportive, and there's an amount of certainty, and it's fun, and who doesn't want to be a part of a family where you can get some help and support and love in life? And as we do a lot of family, and especially marriage coaching, one of the things that comes up right at the top, almost in every case, is, well, we need to communicate better. We just don't communicate. We miscommunicate. If you can help us, one thing we need to have help on is help us communicate better. And this is really a constant theme. So today we're going to talk about one of the ways that we help families create healthy communication. And before we could do that, though, I'm just going to ask you, Leslie, why is it important to have healthy communication?
I think it's pretty obvious, and yet we miss it. If it were so obvious, we'd be communicating better. Mm-hmm. It creates, it's bottom line, I know you. If I can hear you, I see you, I'm connecting with you, then I know you. And ultimately in marriage in particular, that's the win in marriage, isn't it? Oneness. Yeah. To where we see each other. I know you. It's like our relationship with the Lord, where we're one with God. And that's our primary goal as believers of knowing him more and being known. It is his design. We believe God created us because he wanted to be known, and we're created in his image. And so we also want to be known.
It's so good. And really, it comes back to even God's design, right? We as human beings are the speaking species. I mean, I know dogs bark and cats meow, but we have been given this part of God as he breathed into us, where out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks.
That's so good.
And so and in that speaking, it's revealing what I think, feel, fear, I'm excited about, I'm concerned about. And so I have self-disclosure, and it comes more than just through words. And we're going to learn about that in communication. It's my body language and my tone of voice, but we're the speaking species. And so this idea that I'm going to speak who I am and what I'm thinking and share me with you, or with my kids or vice versa. And the same, you're going to hear that, receive that, understand that, and then be able to in turn do the same to me. Reveal yourself, divulge. And so you nailed it. I really believe too. It is to be known and to know each other, to be one. And this is no little thing. Jesus prayed in John 17. You guys probably know this, the high priestly prayer where he says, Father, let them be one with you just as we are one. And so from the beginning to the end in the Bible, it is that love story that you talk about, Leslie, and it is really being known and being one. And the way that we've been created, that has to happen through communication.
And we haven't really, we're going to talk a little bit about some automatic ways that we all listen. Mm-hmm. And you're probably going to laugh when we get to this section because you're like, oh my gosh, I totally listen that way. We haven't been taught how to listen, how to give our full attention. So what are the benefits of not having healthy communication?
It's a tricky question, right? What are the good things? What do I get out of poor communication? Right? And you might scratch your head and think, well,
there is no benefit.
I don't get anything. It causes problems. But actually, we get a lot of benefit out of everything that we choose to do. We have a perceived benefit. And so and this is important, healthy communication is a choice. And so is unhealthy communication. It's a choice. And if I'm choosing to not do the work and learn you and me and how and deal with my own heart, because it's out of the heart that causes bad communication. It's I have to be right, or I have to tell you what I think, or I have to put blame on you, or I am personalizing what you're saying, so I'm going to be defensive. It's really what's going on in my heart that turns what I say in return into an unhealthy thing. But I get a lot out of that. Sometimes we get to avoid, we get to put distance. Some
it's
people
be safe. There's this perceived, I'm safe. If I don't talk about this and I don't reveal what's in my heart, I'm safe.
Yeah. And
I won't be judged. Maybe that's it.
And here's a great lie. Time will heal all wounds.
Oh, that's a big one.
No, it doesn't, especially around things that are left uncommunicated.
As a matter of fact, I use this analogy a lot because it's so good. If this water bottle's a cup of pain, right? And I hold it out here. It doesn't matter what the pain is. It could be something really, really simple. It could be something really big. But the point is not the size of the wound or the pain or the light. It's how long I carry it. I can hold this out here for a while and I'm going to be fine. But I can guarantee you in about 10 minutes, my shoulder's going to start to hurt. And if I hold it out here for an hour, if I even could do that, I might end up with a frozen shoulder. So it's not how long you hold something or hide something, that length of time makes things worse. It doesn't make things better. So time will heal all wounds. No, it won't.
Yeah, actually it doesn't. And so, but if I am afraid, and this is important, this is really getting deeper into why unhealthy communication happens. If I'm afraid I'm going to pay a price, you're going to distance yourself. You're going to make me wrong. You're going to get defensive and prove that I'm really something. If I really share what I want to share and talk about something that really is I'm not okay with, then all of a sudden I actually get the big benefit of not having to face that fear.
Yeah.
And so these are the deeper reasons a lot of times where we choose, and again, it's a choice, not to communicate healthy. But unhealthy communication is when I'm talking about you and telling you what you think, and when I'm saying what you need to do.
A little assuming.
Healthy communication is no, I am going to speak for me. This is what I see. This is my experience. This is what I think. This is how you can't make me feel anything. You make me feel so. And I know somebody's like, he didn't just say that, because of course you can make. No, actually you can't. Whatever Leslie says to me, how I feel about that depends on what I believe in my heart.
Yeah, this is really important, guys. We've talked about this in other episodes, but it's really important that you keep in mind that every feeling, every emotion that you experience is generated out of a thought. So this is Proverbs, right? As a person thinketh in their heart, so are they. It's out of the heart flow the issues of life.
So
So
true.
same thing. If Randy says something to me and I have a I
Big
have
emotional
a big
response.
emotion, I'm mad or I'm hurt. It's how I think in my heart, right?
It's causing it.
That's causing it. So it's coming out of me. So now listen, this is not to say that people don't say things that are unkind, or that people don't
Hurt.
do things to us that actually hurt us, right? That happens. But how we choose to respond to that stimulus, if you will,
Mhm.
is entirely up to us. It really is. I mean, if somebody stabs me, it's going to hurt, right? But, well, backstory is a whole other,
That's another model. But it really is. The reasons we have unhealthy communication or healthy communication comes down to what's going on in our hearts. That's why it's so important to have some tools to understand really what's going on down there
Yeah.
for me. And so you said, what are the benefits of unhealthy? Well, I get to hide, I get to be safe, I get to be right, whatever. But what are the costs
Yeah.
of not choosing to communicate well?
Man, aren't there's so many, and this is why people end up in our marriage coaching, because it firstly causes disconnection,
Mhm.
which is completely outside of God's design. He said the two will become one flesh, and that's
Mhm.
not just talking about the bedroom. That is that we are one when we're married, and so if we're not communicating, it causes disconnection. There's so much misunderstanding. There's a lot of assuming that
Oh,
goes
man.
on in the silence, where we're not going to communicate because somebody's been triggered, which is coming out of them. And so, we go to bed
Mhm.
at night and our feet are turned in the opposite direction. So a lot of misunderstanding, which
Mhm.
can create a whole other slew of problems, because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know you thought that way.
Yeah. The costs are we are separate instead of being one.
Yeah.
We don't know each other that well. We don't disclose ourselves. We don't, right? We assume. You said that. That was so good. We misunderstand. We
Assign motive in the
assign
silence.
ill motive. So it costs the very healthy environment, the healthy family culture that we want. Now we're talking marriage, but this happens with our kids the same way.
Same thing.
And so it absolutely destroys a healthy family culture if we don't communicate in healthy ways.
Yeah. And I say this a lot, but listening to somebody, listening to your spouse, or listening to your children is a gift.
Yeah.
Like you're giving somebody, it costs us something to
Mhm.
listen, doesn't it? It costs us time, it costs us our attention. We might have to put down our phone.
Yeah.
But it's really a gift to say that right now you are important to me.
And present.
I care about what you think. I care about how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is with everybody, but in our families, we're very observant people, and we're out and about a lot. And it's sad, but parents are distracted.
Mm-hmm.
And they're disconnected, and the kids are distracted and disconnected, and people sit around the dinner table and everybody's on a phone, or
everybody's talking over one another, right? The thoughts don't get to be completed.
I want to be heard.
Yeah, and jokes are made instead of and so let's the problems with unhealthy communication are immense. But honestly, the biggest one is we don't create an environment at home that allows us to truly model and demonstrate the kingdom of God, the way He has designed family. We don't get to demonstrate peace and love and joy and comfort, right? And support and trust and, not keeping record of wrongs, forgiveness. All of that gets pushed away in an environment that we can't even really communicate. We can't bear ourselves safely. We can't be heard. We can't hear other. And so what actually do we do as a family? So I know there are people listening right now that you're like, man, stop talking about how bad it is. I know how bad it is. Like, what do we do about it?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about one of our tools. We call this empathetic listening.
Yeah.
And empathetic listening comes from empathy, right? Which is, our definition is walking in another person's shoes with full understanding.
Yeah, so good.
So it's really, how do I show up and listen in a way that I have full understanding of what Leslie or what my husband or wife or kids are going through? And so to first know how to do that, we have to recognize that we're already doing it wrong. There are 6 ways of what we call automatic listening. Actually, this is from Millman Toomey from Generative Leadership. I found this article, I don't know, 15 years ago now, maybe. And it has just really framed this exercise for us and helped so many people learn how to communicate and listen better. So we're first going to talk about the listening part of communication.
Yeah.
So what do we do? Well, first of all, what percent, here's a question for you, and Leslie will give you the answer. What percent of communication is it that the actual words that are used are communicating? In other words, I'm communicating in a lot of ways right now, but the words I'm choosing is one of them. What percent out of 100 is that words that I'm using, according to the study from, I believe it was a university in Southern California? What percent do you think? What is it, Les?
The actual number is 7.
7% are the actual words. And
now, I know we're the talking species.
Yeah, but so much more is communicated beyond that. So what facial expression, body language. But here's the one, eyes reveal the soul, the Bible says. And so the eyes communicate. But the number one, I think it's up around the 40 to 50% mark of how we communicate is what? Tone of voice.
Yeah. Just think about when you get into and not that anybody in our listening audience ever gets into an argument, but just imagine what your body does when somebody's yelling at you or they're raising their voice at you.
Can you hear sarcasm in the tone? Right? Can you hear criticism in the tone? You could say the words, well, that was really good. Yeah. And what I'm really saying is that was terrible.
The tone of our voice, I mean, just think about this too. Some people yell at their children, and there's a time and a place when, like, if little Junior's walking out in the street in front of a car, you want to get their attention, right? Yeah. And so your tone is going to go up and it's going to get shrill or loud or whatever. It's designed from a place of safety. And it's important that we remember that. It's not designed I'm going to talk louder so that you're going to hear me better. If I raise my tone of voice, then you're going to hear me. That's just not true. Yeah. And it's a misuse of the tone that God gave you.
Man. And so we're responsible for how we're given our message. But let's talk about how we hear and how we receive the message. Now, you're going to find yourself in 1 or 2 or 3, maybe, of these 6 ways of automatic listening. And if this resonates with you, I want you to take note of it, because what you're noticing is preventing you from actually listening from this empathetic place of wanting to fully understand what another person is going through. So if Leslie and I are in a conversation and she is speaking to me, she's telling me something, disclosing something important that she wants me to know, I might automatically listen in the first way, which is agree, disagree. In other words, what's going on inside my mind 100% is not what she's saying. It's just letting in what she's saying enough so that I can decide, do I agree with what she's saying or do I disagree? Is that right or is that wrong? And what would I say here or what would I say there? Or what's my response that's coming? I'm not really listening to grasp the emotion underneath what she's saying, the implications or application of what I just want to, I'm all focused on what I think. And I might be nodding. If you nod a lot is one possible clue. Another one, this is a big one, you interrupt. And I'll tell you, around empathetic listening, the way to listen is to shut your mouth. Like listen. Let one person communicate full thoughts and really focus. So if you're sitting there and your attention is on agree, disagree, I'm ready to interrupt, I'm thinking about what I'm going to say next, then you're missing really connecting and understanding what the person sending the message is getting.
Another way we tend to check out, if I come in and I'm telling Randy something and he might listen this way, I already know that.
Yeah.
So what happens if I start saying something and in his mind, what he's hearing automatically is, I already know that. He's not listening to me anymore. He's just shut. I already know that. And this looks like when you come in and you're trying to have a conversation with somebody in your family and they're not listening. They're just walking away.
Yeah.
But in their head.
And with that way, it's called the already know it or fit way. In other words, I'm listening with this like filter up. I'm only going to let in the tiny little pieces that I don't know already. And I'm really going to just not pay much attention because I know it mostly. But if I'm intrigued all of a sudden about one aspect of what you're saying that I don't know, then I'm going to geek out on that and focus on. And again, the point on automatic listening is it's what's going on. It's all about me and what I'm thinking instead of you and what you're trying to share.
Right. You're not open when we're listening in these automatic ways. We're not actually open to receive information. We're busy in our own heads. Another way of automatic listening is personalizing.
Yeah. Have you ever somebody saying something to you and immediately the thought in your head, again, it's all about you, not them. It's, why are they saying that about me? What are they trying to tell me? Is there something wrong with me? Did I do something wrong? Well, what am I supposed to change? And there are a lot of people that's how they take in information based on, generational stuff or their early childhood trauma. Perhaps they take in information based on what's wrong with me. What are you saying about me? What do you mean? And so again, in automatic listening, I'm all about me, just in a different way than the first two, and not about Leslie, who's trying to share her heart with me. She's saying, I'm really tired or I'm really lonely, but what's going on in my head is, well, I'm driving you too hard. Well, I'm not enough. And and all of this that's going on inside of me, I'm not listening to her. Okay. And what's another way? Safety. Yeah. There are people who have truly been victimized in their lives, either their generations or as a kid or even an adult. They've been, the brunt of abuse or verbal or emotional or mental or physical. And especially people in that place, a lot of times what it does without getting the heart healed up is the heart puts up this filter, and whatever's being said from anybody is, I'm filtering it through. If I'm that person through, is this safe? If I believe this, is it going to be safe for me? If I do what they're saying, is that safe? Who disagrees with this, and who might come after me if I start believing this or saying this? Or so again, it's all about what's going on in the mind and the heart of the listener instead of the communicator.
Yeah, the person listening from a place of safety and it really is that. It's, am I going to be, if I open myself up to hear these words, are they going to have control over me? This is especially true people that have been abused in childhood, is because in childhood, unfortunately, when there's abuse going on, especially sexual abuse, it's done really kindly. So, they lure their victims in. And so, that's that safety.
Here's two more quick, and then we're going to give you the answers. Accurate, inaccurate is an automatic. So there are some people, usually the more analytical types, right? The data driven, and they listen for accuracy. Is this accurate or inaccurate? Like, is it right or is it wrong? Like if I'm listening to a real estate agent this way, they tell me, yeah, this house is 4,000 square feet. And in my mind, I'm saying, oh, you liar. I already researched this house. It's 3,996 square feet. It is not 4,000. And I will not do business with you because you are not reputable. You do not have integrity because you just lied to me. That's inaccurate. And so if you can see, there's this whole discussion I have with myself if what is being said is right or wrong, accurate, inaccurate.
Yeah, and it's different from agree, disagree. They seem the same, but they're not. Do I agree with that, or do I agree with that? That accuracy is as Randy described. It is down to the nuts and bolts, and so I'm not going to listen to you because.
Even in written communication, this is a person that sees a typo and just dismisses the article. It's like
I'm not
if
going to listen to anything this
if they
person has
can't-
to say. They don't know how to dot that I.
if the grammar is wrong, they're shaking their head and they're like, man,
Going into judgment.
I don't know if I can really listen to this. So accurate and accurate. Again, automatic, and it's not empathetic, walking in another person's shoes with full understanding.
Yeah,
Finally, is what we call the Eeyore, what I call the Eeyore way. It's resignation.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter anyway. Go ahead. Your lips are moving, but it doesn't change anything. There's this resigning to hopelessness, basically. What you're saying doesn't matter because it's not going to change anything, do anything.
This comes out of a lot of victim thinking, people that listen this way.
Yeah, people that are really stuck in their lives listen this way often because there's not just stuck in one place, they're stuck in many.
How we do anything's how we do everything, we say.
So listen, that is in terms of listening in a healthy way, which really is a catalyst to healthy communication. You want to change your family, your marriage, your kids, start listening. And here's how. Empathetic listening, the first thing you do is you shut your mouth. You create silence for another person to complete a thought. And as you're listening, you start with a clean slate. If I had a big flip chart or a big chalkboard and it was totally clean, that's what you start with inside of your own thinking. So I'm not full of my own stuff. Do I disagree, agree? Is this right or wrong? Personalized? All of that stuff, I just zero out. I erase it with the wet washcloth or whatever. And I am just open to really let you put on my canvas or my chalkboard what it's on your heart.
Now, I know I can hear people thinking out there already that, well, sometimes I have to interrupt because I have a question. Somebody's sharing something, I have a question. This is particularly important. We've been in business or classroom situations where the speaker will say, please hold your questions for the end of the class. We'll have a Q&A time, right? There's a reason they do that because oftentimes they'll actually cover that, whatever your question is, in the as they're talking. Yeah. And this is so important with personal conversations with your spouse or with your kids. Trust me, if you will choose to go in with a clean slate and listen, giving the person your full attention, even if there's a question in there, when they're complete, if that question was really important, it'll come back to you. It will come back to you.
And here it is. I love you said it again. The choice to look at the body language, look at the facial expressions, try to discover what the emotion is as they're sharing it. You can see it. When somebody's mad. They don't have to tell you they're mad. You can see it. You can feel it.
Oh, there's those out there that they keep a really calm tone of voice all the time. So tone's important, but they're mad.
Listen to the tone. Listen, and you'll hear what if comments that are made are questions, if they're said with hope, if they're said with fear, if they're said with insecurity or just a big question mark. You'll know by the tone.
And listen, this is super important. I think we'll wrap up with this. Stay curious. When somebody's sharing, be open to hear everything they're saying and pay attention to their body language and their tone, but be curious. And so those questions, pay attention to yourself. Is it really that you want clarity? And maybe you do, but just be curious. Hey, we have a something that we do when we're going back and forth around conversation, and we'll get everything out. And when we're done, we let the other person know by saying, okay, I'm complete. And at that point, Randy might have some questions. I'm curious, honey. I noticed that you kind of you teared up a little bit when you were talking about whatever. Yeah,
so good. In our next episode, we're going to talk about the other side of this communication. So now she said I'm complete, and now I've listened real well. How do I give and receive feedback in a way that is also healthy? We're going to talk about next time. Listen, this is critical. Down in the comments or the description down below, you will see the link to be able to get our video tool and PDF tool around empathetic listening. We encourage you to get that because this is one of the big, I'd say easily the top 4 or 5 things that go wrong in relationships and families. And the goal is to have that healthy family culture, and it just can't happen without healthy communication. So hope you'll try this, take action in your family. It'll change the dynamic. Remember, whoever wins the family
wins the culture in the end.
See you next time. That wraps up another inspiring episode of Transforming Families with Randy and Leslie. We hope that today's conversation has left you feeling empowered and equipped to take action.
Remember, transforming families begins with transforming ourselves. Let's be intentional, loving, and persevere. You're not alone. We're right here with you.
We believe Proverbs 24:3, wise people are builders. They build families, businesses, and communities. Through intelligence and insight, their enterprises are established and endure.
Thanks for joining us today. We encourage you to stay connected with us on social media, join our email list, and learn more about our resources and classes at the Family School by visiting thefamilyreformationproject.com.
Remember to subscribe, share with your loved ones, and spread the word about transforming families. We'll see you on our next episode. And remember, whoever wins the family wins the culture in the end.